I'm back in Qatar after my trip to Zambia, and between Zambia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, I'm at 50 countries total. So I thought it'd be good to share my favorite cards after traveling to 50 countries. My first travel card was the Chase Sapphire Preferred. This was back maybe 2015 or 16. Actually, probably no, might be 2014, 15, around that time. That was my first like dip into the points game. I think I used my bonus and then all the points I accrued to do a trip. I transferred to United. At that time, they had a bonus kind of thing where if you redeemed for a whole route that went around the world, it counted as like one redemption. So I think I went from London, Cairo, Frankfurt, Tokyo, LA. Yeah, so LA started, yeah, and then went around the world that way. But anyway, to the actual content, I have about five or six cards that, after all this, have been like that really stood out for me, helped me out, where I'd probably just keep them in my wallet indefinitely when I'm traveling. The first one might surprise you, and it's actually the Hilton Aspire. So, this is actually a new card for me, but right out of the gate, it gave me a lot of value. Uh, just the diamond status alone, I actually earned diamond status the hard way, um, 2 years ago, and then I wasn't able to maintain it. So if I did not get approved for the Hilton Aspire, I would have lost out on the year towards the lifetime diamond status. But luckily, I got approved, and with that, the diamond status. I mean, I already had gold status, so through my Amex Platinum, but with the diamond status, you get the upgrades, the different kind of treatment. They kind of give you that little bit of extra attention, so it's nice when I'm traveling with my wife. We have that attention, and of course the breakfast and the executive lounge. I use the executive lounge in the Hilton in Tashkent. Where else? Also, I don't even remember the other hotels, but the one that stood out to me the most was the Hilton in Tashkent and having diamond status. But between the flight credit, the resort credit, it's really nice. It's for me, it's a keeper card, and the free night, of course, and then the bonus kind of covered the fee for the whole first year anyway. So now I'm just, if I hit the value hard enough, uh, yeah, it's a keeper unless something drastically changes on the card. It's probably one of my new favorites and will stay in my wallet, you know, in case I have to book a Hilton last minute or anything like that. And then with that, we'll go into the Amex Platinum. Uh, you'd think being like the top tier travel card, um, yeah, it would have more of an effect, but I think it's just the credit fatigue because it's so easy to get the credits on the Hilton Aspire, but on the Platinum, outside of booking flights, I tend to not use it as much because it's a travel card, but it's actually not so, useful when you're traveling with the card. So all the credits are basically U.S. based between the Uber credit. I do or I did use the Fine Hotel and Resorts credit once so far. So that was last year. Hopefully, I can get it done this year. And yeah, most of the other credits I have no use for when I am actively traveling. And since I'm an expat, it's not so good. But the reason it's my favorite is, of course, the lounge access. You can't beat the lounge access that, you know, the Amex Priority Pass versus the other Priority Passes. It's just a winner. I have all three. I have the Sapphire Reserve, the Venture X, and that. And when I look on what's actually available in Priority Pass, the Amex uh, Platinum or Business Platinum wins out. But just the 5x on flights is a big deal, and then the Fine Hotels and Resorts credit. That's why it's still one of my favorites, even though it's getting so hard to get value from the credits. And then with that being said, the Sapphire Preferred, well, Sapphire Reserve actually, not Preferred. There we go. I upgraded my Sapphire Preferred last year. I just had it for a year. Well, a new one. I had a Sapphire Preferred. I closed it maybe, whew, maybe 7 years ago, and reopened it a little over a year ago. Then upgraded it to the Sapphire Reserve. I was actually debating on whether to upgrade it or not, but I think I just wanted to give it a try. Um, when I decided to plan my trip to Hong Kong for Chinese New Year, I thought it would be great to access the lounge there, not realizing that I could get in anyway with the priority pass from the Amex Platinum. But um, it's still nice to have, because now that I've actually been using the card, I've grown to like it more and more, because I lean more on the Sapphire Reserve, because you get the 1.5x in the travel portal. So I haven't done a redemption with that yet, but it's so nice that it's an option where I have to think less and less about the cent per point. Where before I would lean heavily on other cards to get the dining points, because, or vice versa, or lean on another card to get the redemption on travel. But now, when I think about it, now I'm more leaning on chase points, because I know it's more comfortable to get the 1.5 cents per point if I just redeem directly without having to transfer and think about all these things. And I can just book directly and not have to worry, and whatever the case is. So between that, of course, the lounge access on there, even though still I have the Amex Platinum, now I kind of have a way to wean myself off of Amex with the Sapphire Reserve. And then, of course, the travel credit on the Sapphire Reserve. So that's easily, okay, 300 back out of the 550. So now I only have to make up the 250. And yeah, so it's still one of my favorites for that reason. And then, between the offers that pop up that might be useful, who knows? On my Amex Platinum, I actually did get a great offer on Qatar Airways, where if you spent $2,000, you get $300 back. So when I started booking trips, that the 300 already made up a lot of the annual fee, and then the bonus as well. So it's things like that where you kind of have to have the card to get that experience. You can't just kind of go through the theories and, oh, this would be the best card for this, because you just have to actively use it. The next one, as far as one of my favorites, might surprise you as well, is the Amex Business Gold. So with the Amex Business Gold, it's not something I actively use as a term in terms of swiping, but what's good about it is the transit category is 4x. So a lot of the rideshare apps around the world, they might end up, accepting Amex, versus if you try to, swipe in the country, it doesn't work. So even when I was in Jakarta, there's an app called Bluebird, and it accepts Amex. So I got 4x when I was in Jakarta. Of course, Grab throughout, Southeast Asia also accepts it. So that's 4x right there. And you probably lean on those apps a lot in Southeast Asia anyway. Same in, I think, Bolt when I was in Azerbaijan and Georgia. Yeah, that worked out. And then it's iffy with Yandex, because, which is kind of like in Russia, Kazakhstan, Serbia. It's iffy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Whatever the case, but I think I got it to work one or two times. But overall, okay, it counts as transit. But the heavy hitter for me was in Japan when I load my Suica card, which is like, the Metro Pass there. So if I load my Suica card and my Apple Wallet with my Amex Business Gold, it counts as 4x. So the maximum you can put in, or the maximum the card can hold, is around 20,000 yen. So depending on the exchange rate, just it fluctuates. But if I max out my Suica card I can use the metro in Tokyo. I can pay for 7-Eleven. I can pay for the Pokemon Center. I can pay for coffee, pay for restaurants. Most places will take Suica. So I'm basically getting 4x on almost all my spending in Japan, other than things that require cash only, or maybe the onesies and twosies that don't accept Suica. So just that alone, for how much I enjoy going to Japan, this is one of my favorite cards where even if it's like I'll find a way to deal with the fatigue on the Amex Business Gold, I just have to actually do the math to see, okay, is it worth it to pay the annual fee or just use a different card? And this hack actually does not work with Visa cards, so you can't use, the Sapphire Reserve or the Ink Preferred to, or to try to get the, 3 points, but you can use it with the Amex Green. So maybe in the future, I'll downgrade my Amex Platinum to the Amex Green for that hack. But to stay on topic, the next card is the Savor, which is, it says SavorOne because I got this card right before they did the name change. And when I applied for the card maybe 2 or 3 times, and then finally I got approved. Capital One is weird because I have way more, I guess, advanced cards, and this is just, a normal card, but whatever the case, I have it now. And it's also really, really clutch for me because I'm big into coffee, and a lot of coffee roasteries, their code will show up as groceries rather than dining, whereas you'd think a cafe shows up as dining. But since this covers both groceries and dining, I don't need to think as much, oh, what will this code as? And I'll get the 3 points. But then it also does entertainment. So if I go to the movies, which in Zambia we actually did see the new Captain America, and that got the 3 points on there. So it's a lot. And then as an expat, I need to buy groceries. So now I have a solid grocery card with no fee, and this helps me out because I'm just constantly using that. And then the ultimate pair would be the last is the Venture X. So between these two cards, SavorOne and Venture X, this combo, especially if you're an expat, you can't really beat this combo. 2 points on everything, all your purchases. You get the $300 travel portal credit for Capital One, but with the Capital One portal, you get your budget airlines that tend to not show up in the Amex or Chase portal. So for me, I used to fly in Jazeera Airways out of Kuwait, so that helped me out a lot when I would fly to Kazakhstan or different countries. And then of course AirAsia, it the I always end up using the, I think I've had the Venture X 3 years now, or 2.5. So for both years credits, I ended up just using it on AirAsia. I think I went to Chiang Mai, booked my flight to Chiang Mai, and booked to, I think, Bali to Jakarta. But yeah, it's so easy to use that I can't really complain about the credits. And between the 2 points on the Venture X and the 3 points, that kind of covers all my purchases. But the reason I'm keeping them because, I'm kind of heavy because now it's like, okay, why am I paying so many annual fees? Why am I doing all these things? In these first like go around between these cards, I got the bonuses or they were upgrades, downgrades, shuffling things around. So as like the year goes on and I kind of slow down as far as hitting bonuses, these cards will probably change out, cancel, close, downgrade, upgrade, whatever the case is. But for now, out of like all this traveling and 50 between these, I cover all my purchases, maximize my points. I think the only category I don't have is maybe gas, which then the Venture X would just hit the 2x there anyway. And then I think there were some cards that give bonuses on drugstores, but then depending on if the drugstore codes as market or yeah, like groceries or whatever, who knows? But right now, at 50 countries, these are my favorites. If you have suggestions on how I can improve the setup, let me know. Or maybe I messed up. Maybe the setup is not good. It's not really a setup, it's just my favorites. But these are cards I've actively kept in my wallet and, walk around with. So please don't rob me. But yeah, uh, that's all I wanted to talk about on this video. And I'm just happy. I'm excited because I'm at 50 countries, but not even halfway to my goal of all countries. So, yeah, thank you for watching.